Well, our next speaker is Jia Jiang. Jia Jiang is a very well-known speaker and author who has helped many people turn rejection into opportunity. Today's theme is the power of rejection. Please join me in welcoming Jia Jiang to the stage.
Wow. All right. So Sridhar talked about how to be an effective manager. And Denise talked about how to ace your career. And I'm going to talk about rejection. So what a downer. How many of you like rejection? Raise your hand. Oh, we got one guy. Weirdo. All right. But let's start with a lighter note. How about gifts? How many of you like gifts? Raise your hand. Almost all of you. Good. If you don't like your gifts, you can give them to me all the time. That's fine. I love gifts, but I didn't like gifts growing up. Why? Because when I was 6-year-old, one day my teacher came up with this really brilliant idea. Brilliant. That she wanted us to not only get holiday gifts, but also learn the virtue of complimenting each other at the same time. So in my classroom, there were like 40 people, and she had all of us come to the front. She said, why don't you say nice things about each other? If you hear your name called, you can go pick up a gift and sit down. And she bought all of us gifts and put them in the corner. And I was like, wow, that's a great idea. Every time I heard someone else's name was called, maybe it's a good student, maybe someone can sing really well, I'll be like, yay, when it's my turn. Then there were 20 people left, and 10 people left, and at the end there were 3 left. And I was one of them. That's where the compliments stopped. At that moment, I didn't want gifts anymore. I didn't want compliments anymore. I just want to sit down. I didn't know why people wouldn't say nice things about me. I thought I was cool. I thought I was popular. Then I saw who was standing next to me. I knew otherwise because I hated those 2 kids. My teacher was freaking out. She was like, oh my God, will anyone say anything nice about these people? Please? No? Okay, why don't you just go pick up a gift and sit down? You guys behave better next year so someone will say something nice about you. As I'm describing this, it's like it happened to me yesterday, right? Ever since that day, I would just die not to be in that situation again, getting rejected, especially in public. But people grow up. That was when I was 6. And fast forward 8 years, this guy came to my hometown to speak. I'm from Beijing. And you know who he is? Bill Gates, that's right. So he came to China to promote Windows 95. And I heard him speak. I love that guy. I loved everything about him. And I just want to be like him. So that night, I wrote a letter to my family telling them, hey, don't worry about your son now. I got my life figured out. By age 25, I will build the biggest company in the world. And I will buy Microsoft from Bill Gates. I loved everything about him, including the idea of dominating the world. By the way, I have no idea why this picture's in black and white. It's only 20 years ago. This looks like World War II picture. Speaking of the letter, my family kept the letter for me all these years, and they sent it to me when I was 30. And they were like, have you done this? So here's what the letter looked like. Some of you, maybe most of you can read this, so I get embarrassed when people can read my letters. And this is really bad handwritten letter. For those of you who can't read it, I did highlight some keywords for you. So that was when I was 14. And then fast forward another, let me get back so you can read this. so fast forward another 16 years. One day I woke up, I was 30. Nope, I didn't build the biggest company in the world. I didn't even start. And looking back, like what happened? And I did pretty well. I bought a house and I went to school and found a job and got married and bought a dog and everything. I kind of fulfilled everything in this picture, this American dream, without the milkman. I don't know where they are nowadays. I think milkmans are awesome. But where was the kid who was writing that letter? He wanted to change the world. And even at work, I felt stuck. And I felt I wasn't progressing. I was stagnant. So looking back, like what happened to me? As it turned out, every time I had a new idea, Every time I want to do something, every time I want to present in front of people, get my ideas out, I just found there's a constant battle between the 6-year-old and 14-year-old. One wanted to change the world. Another was afraid of rejection. And guess what? Every time that 6-year-old won. And this fear of rejection even stayed with me after I started my company. So I started my company when I was 30. If you want to be Bill Gates, you got to start sooner or later, right? So I found a team of engineers we're building this app. I was having a good time. But a few months into my venture, I thought I got this opportunity to get an investor to invest in my company. I really wanted that investment. I thought there's no way I wouldn't get it. No way. I even dreamed about this 5 different times. It's the same dream over and over again. It sucked. But then there's a dream, there's reality. One day, I got this email from the investor. It's a one-liner. It said, nope, we're not going to do this. At that moment, I was really hurt. And I was hurt so bad that I wanted to quit. I thought I was smart. I thought I was well-educated. I got a good team. I was prepared for this, but when the rejection came, it really, really hurt. And at that moment, it was like the 6-year-old was standing on my shoulders again. It was like, he was like, who do you think you are? You want to be an entrepreneur? That's for the geniuses, like Bill Gates and Steve Jobs. You're just a wannabe. Then it just dawned on me, okay, would Bill Gates wanting to give up after rejection like that? Would anyone successful at anything wanting to give up after rejection like that? No way. So I can build a better team and find a better product, but I gotta be a better person. I have to solve that rejection problem. I gotta put that 6-year-old back to his place so he wouldn't talk to me again over and over again. So what did I do? I searched online. Google's my friend. So I searched, how do I overcome my fear of rejection? First of all, I saw a bunch of articles written by psychologists telling me where is your fear and pain coming from. They were okay. Then I saw a bunch of articles written by these motivational speakers and sales gurus. They were just like, hey, don't take rejection personally. Just overcome it and move on. I was like, who doesn't know that? It was that simple. Why was I so afraid? Then I saw a website. It's called rejectiontherapy.com. That was really interesting. Rejection therapy was this game invented by this Canadian entrepreneur, and he's got some real rejection issues. So that's why he came out with this deck of cards. It's 30 cards, and every card, it would give you a suggestion to get rejected at something. The idea is if you purposely getting rejected instead of running away, by the end of 30 days, you will desensitize yourself from the pain of rejection, and you'll become a badass. I'm like, this is a great idea. This is the best idea I've ever heard. I want to be a badass. I want to be a badass ass of them all. So I said, okay, I'm going to do this, but forget about 30 days. How about if I go overdose on rejection? I do this for 100 days. How about if I use my phone to film myself getting rejected, and I'll upload this on YouTube and make a video blog or vlog out of this thing? How about I just use my own imagination? I don't want a card telling me what to do. I'll just have some fun and do this on my own. So that's what I did. This was what the website looked like then. Rejection 1, borrow $100 from a stranger. So my office was in downtown Austin at the time. One day I came down and I said, I better do this. So I saw this big guy sitting behind a desk in the lobby. He looked like a security guard. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna ask him. So I got there. I said, sir, can I borrow $100 from you? He looked up. He was like, no. Why? I said, no. Okay, sorry. No. Bye. I turned around, just ran as fast as I could. I was so embarrassed. But the thing about doing a video blog is you have to experience everything twice. That night, I had to upload my video to YouTube, and I was like this sports scout. I was looking at my film frame by frame to see what happened. First of all, I saw myself. I was so scared. My face was pale. I looked like the kid from the movie Sixth Sense. I saw dead people. And then I saw this guy. He was the big guy, but he wasn't like menacing figure. He didn't have a club or pepper spray. He didn't cuss me out. All he did was to say, nope. He asked me why. In fact, he was inviting me to explain myself. At that moment, I could have said many things. I could have said, well, I'm trying to overcome my fear of rejection. Or I could have said, I'm trying to have fun. Or I could have said, If you can do 100, can you do 50? 25, $5. You can do $5, can you? I could have said all these. What did I say? I said just 4 words. No, sorry, no, bye. I'm like, wow, this is like a microcosm of my whole life. Every time I get the slightest rejection, because I was so scared, I would just run away. So I said, tomorrow, no matter what happened, I'm not gonna run. I'm gonna stay engaged and just chat. I wanna see what happens. So rejection 2, request a burger refill. So one day I had this burger for lunch, and afterward I talked to the cashier and said, can I get a burger refill? He was confused. He was like, what do you mean burger refill? I was like, just like a free drink refill, but with a burger instead. He was like, sorry, I don't do burger refill, man. That's where the rejection happened. But this time, I didn't run. I said, okay, if you give me burger refill, I'll come back here every day for the next 30 days. I'll tell everyone how awesome your burger is. If you think about it, that's a pretty good marketing for a free burger. But he said, that's a good idea, but I can't do it. I'll get in trouble if I give out free food, and my manager is not here. I didn't want to get him in trouble, so so that's where I left. And guess what? I wasn't scared anymore. It was still really awkward, but I didn't see dead people at this time. So I said, okay, it's great. Day 2, I already learned something really important. If I don't have to run after a rejection, I don't have to feel too bad. Then day 3, something strange happened, like really turned my life upside down. Rejection 3 asked for Olympic symbol donuts. So one day I went to a donut shop called Krispy Kreme. I'm not sure if you like Krispy Kreme. It's my favorite. But I went to a Krispy Kreme, and I thought I was going to ask for donuts that look like Olympic rings. So basically, you interlink the 5 donuts, right? There's no way they're going to say yes to that, right? I was going to come in and prepare my joke, and I was going to leave. But guess what? The donut maker took me so seriously. She was like, what did the color look like? How do I do this? She wouldn't say no to me no matter how hard I tried. And half an hour later, there was this donuts that looked like Olympic rings. And I'm like, what? My rejection request got rejected. And then as I kept doing this, like strange things that happened one after another. People kept saying yes to me. One day I had a soccer ball in my hand. I knocked on the stranger's house, and the guy opened the door. He has this giant Texas flag on his t-shirt. If you've been to Texas, people do that there. And I said, sir, can I play soccer in your backyard? He was like, soccer in my backyard? And he saw me, and he saw how serious I was. I had a soccer ball, shin guards, cleats, all decked out. And he was like, I guess so, come on in. I'm like, now what? So I did a little bit dribbling of soccer and in the backyard. Before leaving, I asked him, how can you say yes to me? He was like, this is so off the wall, how can I say no? And then there's another day, I saw a police car, and I waved at him, and it's like, and he waved back at me, and I was like, no, I want to pull you over. So I pulled over a police car, and I said, sir, can I drive your car? Okay, I don't want to drive it away. I'll just listen to your radio. I want to give it a spin. I want to feel like a police officer. He was like, I haven't heard this before. Sure, why not? So I drove a police car that day. And then there's one day, I got a bunch of yeses in a row. I got frustrated. I'm like, this is rejection therapy, not acceptance therapy. So I said, what's one thing that no way anyone's going to say yes to me? No way. What if I fly a plane? By the way, I have no idea how to fly a plane. I have no knowledge and courage, and I just don't get rejected that day. So I went to this airfield in Austin. I saw this pilot-looking guy. I said, "Sir, do you have a plane?" He was like, "Yeah, I do." I said, "Can I fly it?" He's like, "Do you know how to fly?" I'm like, "No." He said, "No worry, I'll teach you how to fly. You want to go now?" I'm like, "Why? What's going on?" I said, "Turn out he didn't own a commercial jetliner. He owned a gyroplane." If you've ever seen a gyroplane, it's like a motorcycle in air, like a miniature helicopter thing. So he's a rich hobbyist, and he wants to show everyone how awesome his gyroplane is. So he let me fly. It was amazing. I'll talk to you more about it. But you can go online to my YouTube channel. You can see my video for all of these, and it was a lot of fun. But speaking of video, after I posted this video on YouTube, someone put this in Reddit. It quickly went to the front page. Then it went to the front page of Yahoo. It went to the Times of India. It went to the Daily Mail of UK. This story became viral. A Krispy Kreme donut shop owner would not reject a rejection request. I can't even say that. So, and I'm like, and because of this, I started getting thousands of emails from strangers everywhere, and people were telling me, "Wow, this is really awesome. What you're doing is so inspiring." I'm like, I'm just trying to get rejection, And as it turned out, everyone had a fear of rejection. I thought I was the only one. And everyone had a fear of rejection. They can't wait to tell. They're living through their fears through my eyes. And because of this, I became famous. I started getting invites to speak on rejection at these different conferences. And I started getting on national shows. And I become this online rejection guy. But fame wasn't the thing I was looking for. I was looking for truth. I wanted to find out what something I can find that's the truth that's hidden in the plain view. So I found a lot of truth to things I didn't know before. First of all, is this the answer to this question: what is rejection? What is this thing we're so afraid of? But if you overcome the fear, you can make some real changes in their lives. As it turned out, rejection is pretty much a numbers game. It's a numbers game. In these 100 days, I could ask something that's outrageous. Someone would say yes to me. Or I could ask something that was pretty moderate, and someone would say no to me. But if you want to get a yes, just talk to enough people. Someone will say yes to me at the end. It's almost as if there's a number associated with every rejection. And if you go through enough no's, it becomes a yes. And then rejection is just an opinion. It's an opinion. And you can change that opinion too. In these 100 days, I could ask the same question to 10 different people. Someone would say yes. Someone would say no. Someone would smile and give me a high five. Someone just couldn't wait to get away from me faster. It says everything about that person. I was the same person making the same request, but it says everything about that person's maybe state of mind, or maybe what happened to him or her the night before, or maybe it's a lifelong of education or needs or prejudice. Who knows? It has nothing to do with me. It has everything to do with that person. But when it comes to rejection, we think it's all about us. We think we're the center of our universe. We think we're the heroes of our own movies. It's not. So that's why we take rejection so personally. That's why we think every rejection is like an indictment of who we are, and every acceptance felt like a confirmation of merit. It's not. It's just an opinion. And lastly, rejection is a source of knowledge. So I wrote this book a couple years ago. It actually became the #1 bestseller on Audible. I love audiobooks. I talk about 16 ways you can get more yeses, 16 and things you can actually turn a no into a yes. And so, by the way, Denise gave a great example of how do you turn no into a yes. How do you advocate for yourself? But also, I learned how do you say no to people. That's something we're really bad at, right? Because we're afraid of our rejection getting rejected. But there are ways you can say no without ruining the relationship, but also make the other person a fan of you even. But because of time, I don't have time. I'll do book signing during lunch. So if you want to get a book, you can come to me. But I want to leave you with the most important lesson I learned in these 100 days. Just 2 words. Just ask. Just ask. Remember I talked about I fly someone's plane? That was the best flying experience in my life. When I think about flying, I think about going to the airports a couple hours early, taking my belts and my shoes and make sure my pants don't drop. And I walk through that bone scanner that's going to give me cancer someday for sure. That's my flying experience. But that day, I had none of that. I flew like a bird. It was amazing. For a minute, I was only a couple feet above the cornfield. I felt like I was this seagull looking for fish. And the next minute, I was like 1,000 feet in the air, and there was a cloud around me. And I felt I was this eagle. And it's amazing. But all this time, I just kept asking myself the same question over and over again. Wow, what if I didn't ask? I would not have this great flying experience. What if we don't ask for things in lives? Maybe companies might not be built or create prematurely. Maybe careers might not be advanced. Maybe schools, your dream schools you might not get into. Maybe love stories might be lost. And then, so you might be asking me, what's now? What are you doing now? Well, I'm doing startups again. So maybe you have read these books, one of these books that maybe change you. And in China, they call this kind of books chicken soup. I know this industry really well because it's very influential. Maybe you read some of these books. If you haven't, you should read my book. So these books a lot of these books had profound impact on me. But this industry it's been there for a long time. It's old. It's stagnant, right? It's really driven by personality. You might make an impact, but there's no way to measure yourself. But there's a revolution going on, and maybe you have seen these apps. Lumosity and Headspace and Calm. These are the new age self-help apps that help you to measure yourself, help you to improve yourself using technology. And it's growing so fast. This is in the past 5 years, these companies grow leaps and bounds, and all of them together, they have a cap of over $1 million. It's one of the fastest things that's growing out there. So, but none of this, all they're talking about is brain training, but also meditation. But no one talks about how to overcome your fear. What if you want to apply for your dream school, then you got rejected? What if you want to advance your career? You want to advocate for your team? What do you do? That's why I'm doing the startup again. I want to build an app that would help people overcome their fear of rejection. I want to build a world where we're not afraid of rejections anymore. I want to see how many lives would be changed, how many businesses would be built, how many love stories will be written. So I'm inviting you to join me in this tribe. By the way, if you want to, even beta test my app, text me your email. I will send you an invite. But more importantly, a lot of you are engineers, a lot of you are designers, and a lot of you are product managers. I need all of you. So if you have ideas to contribute, come talk to me afterward and join me. But more importantly, the app or not, I want to help you. And the next time you want something, you want to make an important change in your life, you want to ask for something that you feel or you're afraid of rejection, remember these stories. It's going to help you. And if you're still afraid, just buy yourself a donut. It always helps. So thank you. Thank you for hearing my talk.